ambassadors talking about climate change, and Bill Gates and the Melinda Gates Foundations associated with Monsanto and Syngenta never criticized Monsanto and Syngenta for maybe the die-off of the animals. Where's the money coming from to fund these individuals? And why do they not direct the narrative to proven research that shows that atrazine in the water supply changes the sex of mammals and fish? All these types of things. That neonicotinoids from Monsanto might be responsible for the death of bees. They never talk about it. They never talk about the disappearance of the insects or the possible cause. It's all about CO2. And then you have the classic amount of money that's been poured into all these things. And of course, you never do something for one reason. You do it for 6 reasons. So you benefit from 6 different ways. There way or more. That way you have multiple ways in order to benefit from the event that you're actually doing. One benefit is Monsanto seems to stay out of the picture in regarding Roundup and all these types of things. And of course, Monsanto's been directly found, or at least in news articles, to be funding scientific studies. So don't think that they won't pour their money into these areas. Okay? The fact is, they stay out. They're in the shadows now. Okay? It's like a shadow play. You keep certain entities in the shadow by putting your spotlight on someone in the crowd and saying, you're responsible for shooting Lincoln. You're responsible for pulling the gun. Meanwhile, the real assassin moves out of the room. I tell you what, the real problem is, okay, is either I'm insane, okay, and crazy, which might totally be possible. As I said, I might be losing it, literally. Sometimes I think I am, because if it is real and these types of things are going on, then I think it would be too complicated for any normal person to understand. Now, I'm a normal person, but I've spent years thinking about this. So I don't think anybody else could jump into it and try to figure it out and really understand it unless they spent years in the conspiracy world. And that kind of is a bit demoralizing, really, because that means it's always going to stay on the carbon hypothesis, always. That when the birds die, if they die, all die in the future and the food chain collapses, they're going to blame people. They're not going to point their finger in any other direction, because that's the narrative that's been repeatedly programmed into the population. It's incredible, really. Sooner or later, as I've said multiple times in the past, you just have to take your hat off. That's all you can do, and stand on the chair and just clap your hands and say, well done. I mean, well done with that. I mean, I cannot believe that they pulled it off. And I'm not just thinking one conspiracy, I'm thinking all of them. The Frankfurt Institute, the use of NGOs, the use of brownstone operations, all of it. It's incredible. The fact that I could just go on and on. Bubbles and China spacewalk footage. I mean, you have to take your hat off and clap your hands and just say, well done. I never thought you'd get away with it, because no novel, no movie, nothing could be constructed that would make anybody believe that this was actually happening to our world. No one could make anyone believe in half an hour, or an entire TV series. It's so big, someone would have to sit in a library and read just piles of information. Here's just one statement, okay? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, as you know, connected to the Red Cross, helps Red Cross with relief, etc., so on and so forth, and all kinds of different countries, directly connected. Red Cross built exactly 6 homes for Haiti, with nearly $500 million in donations. 6 homes. It's circular. What are they all really doing with the money? That's the question in the room. Now, if you ask Catherine Austin Fitts, she'll probably say, and she worked as the housing director under HUD under George Bush. Okay, and I don't like George Bush. I'm just saying. Okay, she states that could be as much as $60 trillion in funneled money from around the world into something that no one knows what it's used for. That's most likely if all of these signals are true, if all the burglar alarms are real, if all the smoke coming in the windows that we see from different articles it shows that there's a fire, then all this money is literally going into building underground bases for something. Now, that might sound like I'm a lunatic, okay? But that's literally what Catherine Austin Fitts said. Now, she's upped the number. She said 6 trillion, 10 trillion. Now she's on 60 trillion. That's how much she's saying. That's a lot of bunkers, okay? That's a huge volume. And they know if there's this massive die-off of all these animals, plants, and it's not normal for them, the entire mainstream media, to largely ignore not talking about that 24/7 and doing documentaries about it. Well, not in the 1980s or 90s, okay? They'd be all over it. Well, they probably would, I don't know. But it's not normal, and that's just the reality of today. So go do your own research and decide for yourselves what to believe, of course. Maybe I am insane and should check into the asylum. Okay, well, at least I'll get a nice, hopefully they'll give me a nice chair or a nice bench there to sit and feed the ducks with in front of the pond. And I can look at the clouds. Maybe I could do that with the rest of my life. I just have to get my Thorazine injection every day or whatever it is. In the meantime, go and do your own research, of course, decide for yourselves. Zed from the Outer Light channel and the dailyrabbithole.com.